Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we start Unit 12, B.R. Ambedkar. And our topic is B.R. Ambedkar's thought and ideas. Dr. Ambedkar's thought has many dimensions. There were very few issues that he left untouched. He formulated his opinion on many crucial questions that India was confronting during his times. His versatility is reflected in his social and political thought, economic ideas, law, and constitutionalism. Now let us discuss his ideological orientation. Dr. Ambedkar described himself as a progressive radical and occasionally as a progressive conservative, depending upon the context of demarcation from liberals, Marxists, and others, as the case might be. He was an ardent votary of freedom. He saw it as a positive power and capacity, enabling people to make their choices without being restrained by economic processes and exploitation, social institutions, and religious orthodoxies, and fears and prejudices. He thought that liberalism upheld a narrow conception of freedom which tolerated huge accumulation of resources in a few hands and the deprivation and exploitation that it bred. He thought that liberalism is insensitive about social and political institutions, which, while upholding formal equality, permitted massive inequalities in the economic, social, and cultural arenas. He argued that liberal systems conceal deep inequalities of minorities, such as the conditions of the blacks in USA and Jews in Europe. He further argued that liberalism was often drawn to justify colonial exploitation and the extensive injustices it sustained. Liberal stress on the individual ignored community bonds and the necessity of the latter to sustain a reflective and creative self. Further, liberalism ignored the repression and the alienation of the self that exploitative and dominant structures breed. He found that liberalism has an inadequate understanding of state and the measures that state has to necessarily adopt to provocate and foster good life. He felt that principle of equality before law is truly a great advance as compared to the inegalitarian orders that it attempted to supplant, but it is not adequate. He advanced stronger notions such as equality of consideration, equality of respect, and equality of dignity. He was sensitive to the notion of respect, and the notion of community was central in his consideration. Ambedkar identified certain crucial areas on which he was in tune with Marxism. He argued that the task of philosophy is to transform the world, as Marx suggested in his thesis on Froebach, and he saw the central message of the Buddha as demanding the same. There is conflict between classes, and the class struggle is writ large in social relations. He argued that the good society demands extensive public ownership of the means of production and equal opportunity to everyone to develop his or herself to the fullest extent. He, however, rejected the inevitability of socialism without the intervention of human agency, concretely working towards it. The economic interpretation of history, which does not acknowledge the crucial role that political and ideological institutions play, and the conception of the withering away of the state. He decried the strategy of violence as a means to seize power and called for resolute mass action to bring about a good society. He underscored the transforming effect of struggles in transforming those launching the struggles and the social relations against which they are launched. He further argued that a desirable political order can be created only by acknowledging a moral domain which he saw immanently expressed in Buddha's teaching. He was very critical of the Brahminical ideology, which he felt has been the dominant ideological expression in India. He argued that it reconstituted itself with all its vehemence by defeating the revolution set in motion by Buddha. It subscribed to the principle of graded inequality in organizing social institutions and relations, defended the principle of birth over the principle of worth, undermined reasons, and upheld rituals and priestcraft. It reduced the Shudra and the untouchable to perpetual drudgery and ignominy. It defended inequality and unequal distribution of resources and positions, and sanctified such measures by appeal to doctrines such as karma siddhanta. It upheld the principle of the superiority of mental labor over the manual labor. It had little sympathy towards the degraded and the marginalized. It left millions of people in their degraded condition, away from civilization, and defended their abominable conditions. It had little place for freedom and for re-evolution of choices. It parcelized society into obtain closed groups, making them unable to close ranks, foster a spirit of community, and strive towards shared endeavors. It took away from associated life its joys and sorrows, emasculated struggles and strivings, and deplored sensuousness and festivity. He constructed Brahmanism as totally lacking in any moral values and consideration based on such values. Ambedkar was a bitter critic of Gandhi and Gandhiism. He attacked Gandhi's approach to the abolition of untouchability, an approach that denied its sanction in the Sahastras and which called upon caste Hindu to voluntarily renounce it and make repartitions for the same. Ambedkar felt that rights and humanity cannot be left to the mercy and prejudices of people who have developed a vested interest in undermining them. He did not demarcate the caste system and Varna system as Gandhi did, but saw both of them as upholding the same principle of graded inequality. Even if untouchability is abolished through the Gandhian appeal to conscience, which Ambedkar did not think possible, untouchables will continue to occupy the lowest rung of society as a layer of the Shudras. He saw Gandhi not merely caving in to Hindu orthodoxy, but reformulating such orthodoxy afresh. Gandhi was dispensing moral platitudes to untouchables and trying to buy them with kindness while letting others to promote their interest without hindrance. He rejected the appellation Harijan that Gandhi had bestowed on untouchables and poured scorn on it. Ambedkar rejected many central notions as propounded by Gandhi, such as Swaraj, non-violence, decentralization, khadi, trusteeship, and vegetarianism. He subscribed to a modern polity with modern economy. These worldly concerns were central to his agenda rather than otherworldly search. He felt that an uncritical approach to Panchayati Raj will reinforce the dominant classes in the countryside, handing over additional resources and legitimacy to them to exploit the social classes and groups below them. Next topic is reason and rights. Ambedkar saw the modern era as hurdling a trumps of human reason from myths, customs, and religious superstitions. The world and man, he argued, can be explained by human reason and endeavor. The supernatural powers need not be invoked for the purpose. In fact, the supernatural powers themselves reflect weak human capacities and an underdeveloped state of human development. He therefore saw the expression of human reason manifest in science and modern technology positively. If there are problems with regard to them, then the same reason is capable of offering the necessary correctives. Further, he saw knowledge as immensely practical rather than speculative and esoteric. He felt that speculative knowledge divorced from active engagement with practice leads to priestcraft and speculation. Ambedkar's attitude to religion remained ambivalent. While he did not subscribe to a belief in a personal God or revelation, he felt that religion as morality provides an enduring foundation to societies and enables collective pursuit of good life. Such a religion elevates motives, upholds altruism and concern for others, binding people in solidarity and concern. It cares and supports and strives against exploitation, injustice, and wrongdoing. He argued that the freedom, equality, and fraternity are essential conditions for good life, and a regime of discrete rights need to be constructed on them as the foundation. He understood rights not merely within the narrow confines of liberal individualism, but as individual and group rights. He defended both types of rights in the Constituent Assembly debates. Further, he argued for both civil and political rights and social and economic rights. He did not see them in opposition, but as reinforcing one another. If there is a conflict between them, they have to be negotiated through civic and political forums. He also subscribed to the rights of minorities and cultural groups to maintain their distinctive beliefs and identities while at the same time affording them proper conditions to take their rightful place in public affairs. He defended preferential treatment accorded to disadvantaged communities not only for reasons of equality but also on grounds of egalitarian social structures and for the pursuit of a sane and good society. Now, the next topic is religion. Ambedkar dwelt extensively on major religions of the world, particularly Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, and Buddhism. He wrote a great deal on Hinduism and Buddhism. The mainstream trajectory of religious evolution that he traced in early India was the Vedic society getting degenerated into Aryan society. The rise of Buddhism and the social and moral transformation that it brought about, and the counter-revolution manifest in the development of a specific ideological and political expression which he termed Brahmanism. He found that Hindu scriptures do not lend themselves to a unifold and coherent understanding. They reflect strong cleavages within and across sects and tendencies. There are cleavages within the Vedic literature. The Upanishad thoughts often cannot be reconciled with the Vedic thought. The Smriti literature is quite often in contention with the Shruti literature. Gods come to be pitted against one another, and Tantra is in contention with the Smriti literature. The avatars of Hinduism, such as Rama and Krishna, cannot be held up for adulation and exemplaries. He saw the Bhagavad Gita as primarily putting forward a set of arguments to save Brahmanism in the wake of the rise of Buddhism and the inability of the former to defend itself by appeals to rituals and religious practices. Ambedkar developed a new interpretation of Buddhism and saw it as socially engaged. It privileged the poor and the exploited and was concerned with the sufferings and joys of this world. It does not subscribe to the existence of God or the eternity of soul. It upholds reasons, affirms the existence of this world, subscribes to a moral order, and is in tune with science. He saw the great values of freedom, equality, and community as central to the teaching of the Buddha. Ambedkar had both theological and sociological criticism against Christianity and Islam. Both of them subscribes to the transcendental domain, which apart from its affront to human reason, beget authoritative and paternalistic tendencies. In a sense, they dwarfed human reason, freedom of inquiry, and equality of persons. Their pronouncements cannot be reconciled with scientific reason. Christian belief that Jesus is the Son of God militates against reason. Both these religions, he felt, accommodated themselves to graded inequality and ranking to different degrees. Their precepts have often led their adherents to resort to force and violence. He saw the Buddha standing tall against the protagonists of both these religions. Here we want to wind up this lecture. Thank you so much for your attention.